Hey gang, what's going on? So I'm going to continue the 2022 MLB trade deadline needs series. Today I'm going to talk about the NL Central. Last time I talked about the NL East. I'll obviously move to the NL West next, and then we'll move down to the American League, saving the AL East for last. Saving the best for last, baby. And again, this is stuff that I've researched with corroborating sources to back it up. This isn't just my opinion as to what teams need. So I have done quite a bit of extensive research, and you let me know what you think. And just to make sure, because what I'm going to do after this is once this is lined up, then I'll eventually do my MLB trade deadline predictions too, and you'll see how it lines up compared to these things and how there's a rhyme or reason where the positional need, kind of matches what I have here in terms of trade deadline needs. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I don't want you to miss all this good content. And if you do, hit the like button and the bell icon too, just to show your support. And and again, it's really helpful to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. So again, I don't want you missing good stuff because it's not going to stop. So now with that, let's get to this. Okay, let's talk about the teams. Number one, the Milwaukee Brewers, a team to me the more clear-cut contenders right now in the NL Central. Got a lot of good, firepower across the board, offensively and pitching. To me, I see the need for an outfielder, particularly one who can play the left side or even center, a starting pitcher, and a utility hitter, someone who can play the infield and outfield with a little bit of versatility. Okay, or multiple player, a multiple position in the infield versatility type of thing. So those seem to represent the ideal needs for the Brewers right now, based on where they're at. I think it'll help put them over the top and maybe get them a little bit deeper into the postseason. So that's one team. Second team is the other team that I think could be, give them a run for their money, which is the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, have a lot of firepower at the top of their offense. They still have some other pieces that they need, though. I think bullpen and starting pitching, particularly middle relief for the Cardinals, would be a good idea. So they've had their injuries and stuff, and they've lost some guys, but Goldschmidt and Arenado and the rest of these guys, you definitely want to have the firepower around them to give them a chance to really get into that postseason and maybe do a deep run. So those are the two teams. These next three teams kind of fascinate me, and I'll talk about why I think afterward. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think they're going to be sellers to a degree. Some of the guys I think they'll sell Ben Gamel. I don't know if they're going to sell Brian Reynolds or even David Bednar just yet, because of how many controllable years they have, and if they want to have any chance of building around guys like O'Neill Cruz and Brian Hayes and some of these other guys, JT Brubaker, then keeping some of these guys makes sense, right? But you never know. You don't know when it comes to the Pirates, and the Pirates also have a healthy trade history with teams like the Yankees, so they could be enticed with certain pieces. But to me, I think getting some prospects to boost the system, kind of build around the younger guys, is probably how they're gonna do it. But we just don't know, right? We just don't know. And there's, again, there's some movable players, but we don't know what the current landscape of the market. And the reason why I say that is because obviously in expanded playoffs, there's going to be more teams vying for playoff pieces, right? But that said, too, the difference or the lack of significant difference maker seems to be apparent right now, at least. That could change. There can be more different makers that become available, but difference makers. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams going for a shorter amount of guys, a smaller amount of guys. So it might make sense for teams to strike early instead of waiting, because once these guys are off the market, they're off the market, right? So, and again, waiting doesn't always work the best. Sometimes striking first is the best, and getting the best fit, because sometimes the best player is not necessarily the best fit. So being selective with the guys that they want to bring in to help this team, whether it's chemistry-wise, offensive or pitching, whatever it might be, would be a good idea. So Pittsburgh, to me, I have them as sellers. Cincinnati Reds, another team I have as sellers. And there's already talking about moving Luis Castillo. Tyler Mahle is probably a candidate to be moved. Even a guy like Luis Sessa is a possibility to be moved for the bullpen. And again, another team, they've sold a lot of pieces already. Winker and Minor and like some of these other guys too. Garrett. And Suarez, they've moved quite a few big pieces this year. So I expect them to kind of complete the rebuild, I should say, or the reshuffling, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it a rebuild. So, and then the last thing is the Chicago Cubs. I also have them being sellers and trying to rejuvenate some prospect capital here, and guys that they can be maybe moved. David Robertson, Ian Happ, Wilson Contreras is probably a more obvious candidate to be moved, but any one of those guys could be moved. And they could do 3 separate teams, or they could package maybe a Hap and a David Robertson together in a trade. They could do that. So, but those 3 teams really fascinate me because they're ideal partners for multiplayer trades. Okay, Cincinnati, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. And they're also ideal trade fits for the Yankees. Ideal trade fits for the Yankees. So for whether it's one player, an impact player, or significant, like a multiplayer trade, I think they can go one way or the other here with the Yankees. And to me, again, this is an opportunity. I think the Yankees should be calling these GMs, calling them up, because they line up very, very nicely. And again, Yankees have prospects. Yankees have players that they could restock some of these teams' farms to get some difference makers. So I expect them to be aggressive one way or another. But those are the teams to me in the NL Central, I think, where their needs are kind of residing right now. I'll pivot over to the NL West next. So we'll do this every couple of days. And again, once this series is over, about a week before the trade deadline, which is a little over 4 weeks away, I'll do my MLB trade deadline predictions video. So you can see, again, how everything lines up, and you give me your insight. You give me your predictions. Do you agree with some of them? Do you think they were realistic? Do you think they're nuts? I want to hear about it all. So, and I will be going live the day of the trade deadline itself. I'll be going live for a lot of the day. So if you're not around, you want to listen to it in the background, you're welcome to. If you're around, I mean, feel free to hop in and give us some feedback in the comments. But I would love to have you. I'd love to know what you folks are thinking the day of, especially as it comes to our Yankees. So I'm going to try and get lots of folks on that live stream. So that one's going to be hopping. It's going to be really hopping. And you'll get everything live time. Trade comes out, live time. Once the details of the trade come out, you're going to get that too. You're going to get everything at the trade deadline day. And I'm going to stay about an hour after the deadline too, because last minute deals always come filtering in. So, and I don't want to miss those either. And I don't want you to miss them. So, but let me know what you think. This is my trade deadline needs for the 2022 AL Central teams, how it kind of fits in potentially into the Yankees world. And I'll be here later, obviously, with the lineup and recap, or the lineup and preview, and then the post-game recap as well, if I can do that as well. So, but that's the news for today. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.